In this video, I'm going to be demonstrating how to do the third game. That's questions 11 to 17 from PrepTest 87. Okay, so there is a sequencing element to this game, but there's also a bit of a grouping element as well, almost more matching than grouping. And we have subsets. So the subsets are oil paintings and watercolor paintings. So here are the oil paintings and here are the watercolors. Okay, so I'm just using uppercase and lowercase. I find that helps me to just keep them separate in my mind. All right, and each painting will be shown in at least 1 week, okay? So a minimum of 1 of each will be used, so minimum 1 each, with exactly 1 oil painting and 1 watercolor painting shown per week. So that's quite handy, all right? So we have 4 weeks, and we actually know that we're going to have 1 oil and 1 watercolor each week. So here are 4 weeks. I'm just going to put the oils up top and the watercolors below. Okay, no painting can be shown in 2 consecutive weeks. So I'll just use X to indicate any of the paintings. Okay, so we can't have 2 of the same painting side by side. That's my non-consecutive rule. Okay. Rule 2, gold cannot be shown in any week in which ping is shown. So if P, then not G. If G, then not P. Okay. Right, so the word cannot would be a key word there. And that indicates that we are going to negate the necessary condition. Okay. Rule 3. H must be shown in any week in which sales is shown. Okay, so the words any and must are key here. So any is going to indicate a sufficient condition, and must is going to indicate a necessary condition. So something that must happen, something that's necessary, and in any week in which sales is shown, right? So knowing that sales is shown in a particular week is going to be sufficient to know that H is shown in that week, right? H must be shown when sales is shown, if sales is shown. Okay, so if we know the sufficient condition, then we can infer the necessary condition. All right, so if S, then H. If not H, then not S. That's our contrapositive. Right, so we flip and negate. All right. Rule 4. The conditional indicator words here are cannot and unless. Okay, so unless, we can just translate that directly to if not, and cannot means that we need to negate something here, right? So in this case, cannot meant we needed to negate the necessary condition, and generally that's going to be the case, right? Whereas unless, because we can just sub in if not, it means that we need to negate the sufficient condition, right? So if would indicate a sufficient condition, and then we need to negate it. Okay, so if I is not first, so I'm starting with unless. I'm subbing in if not, right? If not I shown first, right? So if I is not shown first, so that's the same meaning there. Okay, then H cannot be earlier than third. So H cannot be first and H cannot be second. Okay. Cannot be earlier than third, so it can't be either first or second. Right, and then the contrapositive, we're going to have to negate every element of this condition here. So if H is first or H is second, then I is first. Okay. So we do have an issue here though, right? If H is first, then I is first is basically nonsensical in the context of this game. Okay, they can't both be first. So the fact that H being first triggers I being first means that we have to avoid triggering this, right? H can never be first. If it is, then we would end up having to break rule 4 or one of the original rules, which is that we have to have exactly one oil and one watercolor. Both H and I are oil paintings, so they cannot both be first. All right, so that's the setup for this game. You can see that it relies very heavily on conditional reasoning. So if this is a game that you tried and you really struggled with it, if these translations of conditions, the way that I wrote out the rules, if that is just gibberish to you, then I would suggest working more on conditional logic, on being able to identify conditional indicator words, identifying which condition is sufficient, which is necessary, all of that stuff. There are lots and lots of resources for conditional reasoning for the LSAT, and I do plan to post some videos with the techniques that I use and explaining them in a bit more detail. But this is a good opportunity to really test that understanding once you've got a better grasp of it. Okay, so yeah, good luck. Bye.